One way that's very common in creating glitch art in the photographic world is through chemical alteration. This is something that I do on a regular basis in my own work. I am an artist who shoots a lot of Polaroid, and Polaroids have a little chemical packet at the bottom of the Polaroid that the rollers spread across the entire image when it develops. If you quickly and rapidly bend that Polaroid, you're going to change where the chemistry falls, and so you're going to create randomized glitches that you can't really predict onto the final print. And I love using this technique not only because I'm in love with glitch art in general, but a lot of the images that are shot on Polaroid would be quite boring if they did not have some little extra touch to them. And you know, that is something that really speaks to the uniqueness of Polaroid, because if I was shooting this digitally and taking the prints out of the printer and bending them and, you know, trying to get some effect that made each print unique, it's unlikely to work. Now, chemical alteration on photographic prints that aren't Polaroid is kind of common. It certainly was in the darkroom days when you could play with the chemistry, like the acid baths. You could flick that on your print before you put it in the developer, so then those sections would not even develop. You would have randomized spots that, or if you used a paintbrush, you could make sure that certain areas of your print never developed fully. Man Ray and Lee Miller in the 1920s and 30s created a particular look in photography called the Sabatier Effect. I'm not sure if they were the originators of it, but they certainly were the people who popularized it. This involved flicking the lights on and off onto the film while it was in the middle of its development process, and those created randomized glitches that you couldn't predict. What essentially happens in the Sabatier Effect is you are blowing out areas that should turn black because you are introducing light into those areas. Those are the ones that would normally develop last when you're developing film in chemistry. Some of the alternative processes in photography involve using old chemistry, cyanotype Van Dyke. This is stuff that you paint onto your regular watercolor paper, printmaking paper, so forth. It makes it light sensitive. You place your objects out in the sun and let the sun basically print the image for you. This kind of chemistry you can alter through toning processes. This is where you dip a print into something else to change the color. And tannic tea is something that we used to use to alter our prints. Now, this would turn something that was blue into something that was brown or tan. And you can imagine you don't have to put the entire print into that tannic tea or that tone or whatever it is that you're doing. You can randomly toss that stuff on there. You can judiciously place it around to create glitching effects. But all of these fall under the banner of chemical alteration. Certainly you can do similar things to anything that's visual through the use of acids, through the use of introducing heat, through the use of simply leaving something out in the natural weather for a long period of time. I have works of art that I've actually submerged in water for weeks, literal weeks, and pulled them out and gotten some really interesting glitch effects to them.